Module Overview. In this critical and intellectually challenging module, we address a reality every artist must confront: the influence of other artists, cultures, visual trends, and global artistic movements on the development of personal style. No artistic style evolves in a vacuum. Every brushstroke, color palette, or compositional habit is part of a vast, interconnected visual history and contemporary dialogue. Module 5 explores the complex relationships between influence, inspiration, appropriation, and originality. It challenges the romanticized notion of the artist as a solitary genius, instead positioning creative identity as a fluid, responsive synthesis of internal voice and external stimulus. While embracing influence is necessary and often generative, it also requires ethical, cultural, and intellectual rigor. We will analyze how to draw from influence without imitation, how to transform inspiration into innovation, and how to respect the integrity of cultural sources while forming a style that is distinct, personal, and honest. The conversation around cultural appropriation versus cultural appreciation is central to this module, empowering to build ethically grounded stylistic vocabularies. This module is equal parts art history, visual analysis, and philosophical inquiry, a deep dive into what originality truly means in a postmodern, globalized artistic environment. Core learning themes: the anatomy of influence, understanding visual inheritance, family, community, art school, mentors, historical influences, movements like Expressionism, Surrealism, Bauhaus, abstract art, street art, psychological mimicry, imitation as a stage of learning, turning inspiration into innovation, active versus passive influence, deconstructing admired work, form, technique, emotion, message, transformative processes, remixing, layering, abstracting, recontextualizing. The spectrum of borrowing from homage to theft, differentiating tribute, quotation, paraphrase, and plagiarism, understanding the gray zones of stylistic borrowing, conceptual and legal dimensions of intellectual property in art. Cultural appropriation versus cultural appreciation. Definitions, debates, and real-world controversies, criteria for respectful integration of cultural aesthetics, permission and acknowledgement, contextual understanding, avoiding exoticism and erasure, examples of problematic versus ethical uses of cultural motifs, globalization and the death of originality, the myth of total originality in the digital age, the remix era, how social media, memes, and digital tools blur authorship, creating new work from old ideas while maintaining integrity. Building your own lineage, curating your personal artistic family tree of influence, writing critical reflections on key figures who shaped your visual voice, developing a counter-influence practice, intentionally avoiding mimicry, case studies and visual analysis. Jean-Michel Basquiat, merging street art, text, and African diasporic motifs into a revolutionary style, Frida Kahlo, personal pain, Mexican iconography, and surreal self-portraits as fused influence. Yayoi Kusama, infinity, polka dots, and mental health narratives across Western and Japanese forms. Banksy, anonymous influence, political commentary, and street culture hybridity. Kehinde Wiley, recasting classical European painting with Black American identity. Practical exercises. Influence map, create a visual diagram of your top 10 artistic influences and how they manifest in your work. Remix challenge, take an artwork that inspires you and reinterpret it in your own voice without direct copying. Appropriation audit. Analyze a piece of your work that borrows from another culture or artist. Is it respectful, transformative, or derivative? Ethics essay. Write a short reflection on where you draw the line between influence and appropriation in your own journey. No inspiration day. Create a complete artwork with no external references, mimicking a pure voice style test, learning outcomes. By the end of this module, you will distinguish between influence, inspiration, appropriation, and plagiarism. Analyze the ethical implications of borrowing stylistic elements. develop conscious, intentional relationships with their artistic influences, articulate their personal position on originality, citation, and homage, build an ethically grounded visual vocabulary based on respect and transformation, gain confidence in identifying and breaking free from unintentional mimicry, develop a sharper, more original aesthetic by knowing what not to borrow, real-world applications, prepares artists for public exhibitions, interviews, and grant panels where originality and influence must be explained, helps avoid legal and reputational issues associated with plagiarism or appropriation, equips educators and mentors to teach stylistic development with cultural sensitivity, builds intellectual authority in curatorial, academic, or critical art spaces, empowers artists to participate in global artistic dialogues without compromising authenticity.